Hello everyone, I have an update follow-up if you've been following me on my crypto journey for the last few years. I want to give a special shout out to the one and only Rue Black because he was part of discussion with me when we did the whole FedNow series. So we did Ripple and FedNow, we did Stellar and FedNow, and even I myself had done the whole thing of Hedera and FedNow on this channel. So smash the like, consider sticking around to the end of the outline. You're going to want to hear this, especially if you're on the cusp of getting into Stellar or you're a long-term investor in regards to Stellar, because it's kind of like what you saw in a thumbnail. FedNow, Stellar. Well, this is an update. Let's jump into the material. Starting things off, just in case you weren't aware of it, let's take you over to this citation from aciworldwide.com/FedNow. Now, why is this important? Well, when you see things like this, about 23.6% projected compound annual growth rate from 2020 to 2025, well, we're already well into 2024. But the whole thing about 2025, trying to see about what's going to happen in regards to ISO 222 mandate, November 2025. And when you see statements that 50 plus countries are going to be affected by this with instant payment networks, well, does Stellar really truly stand out in that regard? Because let's face it, most people identify the whole thing with FedNow as Hedera outshines all when it comes to this. But is that really true? And that's not FUD on Hedera. I love Hedera. I love holding and being diversified with many of these ISO 222 related tokens and coins, because I realize they're going to be a big platform for the future, but it's what's tied into some of these particular systems, whether it's FedNow and so on. Jumping into it, I'm going to take you over to this. Shout out to Smoke Dog. He has fantastic research. I'm not the only person that shares some of it, but he got into the weeds about this. You'll see some other people that have cited this. Listen to this. This is good stuff. Take this in. Soak this in. So, Smoke goes on to mention FedNow connection to Stellar. Allison Baller, if you're not aware, is the Vice President of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. Currently the head of industry readiness, of course, for FedNow. Is she basically the key to FedNow? Well, before joining the bank, she spent 20 years at IBM working, of course, on blockchain and payments. But the bottom line is, IBM blockchain, as we know, is based on the Stellar protocol, as you can see in the document below. And let's blow that up for you, because you want to know something? A lot of times, you just need to see what is highlighted. And people have asked in the past, they said, you know, the whole thing with Stellar and, for example, IBM, that's done. You know, that ship has sailed. Are you sure about that? Because when you see things like this, that basically, you know, she has been a VP at the Federal Reserve, and by the way, like the one in Boston, and she has worked in industry readiness for the FedNow initiative. It makes you wonder, how is she the key to adoption? Well, again, she has already prepped. She's already crossed her T's and dotted her I's, because she helped out in regards to the adoption and evolution of the FedNow service. Now, as we jump further down here, it says in this highlight, prior to joining the bank, Allison spent 20 years at the IBM Corporation, where she most recently served as a global market development executive in the area of blockchain and payments. During this time, she led a global team to launch a blockchain payments platform for what? Real-time clearing settlement, and had the responsibility for client-facing engagements and implementation of the global go-to-market strategy. And of course, she has a robust background. She's got a lot of education. As we jump more into this, you will see some other examples that are also really good. Let's take it to this next particular page. So jumping back into this, here is another citation, and I'll blow it up on the other screen, because again, IBM, with IBM Blockchain World Wire tomorrow, you see, for example, how it's all connected. And it basically means that funds can be transferred at a fraction of the cost and time of traditional correspondent banking. How so? Through the IBM Blockchain Worldwide, Stellar connection. How again so? Well, it's a global payment network and asset registry. And you could easily see, plain as day, how this comes into not just existence, been there, done that, but how it comes into fruition. How so? Through Stellar Protocol. You have the market maker, the MTO of the bank, you have the liquidity provider, and you see, for example, it could be crypto, it could be fintech, so on and so forth. All right, is that all we have? No. A little bit more about this. This is also really good stuff because you'll also see here that if you weren't aware, IBM demonstrated its recently introduced cross-border payment system, of course, for financial institutions based on what? Blockchain tech, but more importantly, its work with Stellar on the product, which converts fiat currencies to digital assets like what? Stellar Lumens. You know, so many times people forget about that. You see all these examples, basically speaking, of Stellar, and you see like, you know, Sorbonne, which is great. You know, we want those smart contracts and so on, but people have been asking, hey, you know what? I invested into Stellar XLM. I hold XLM. I want to see more examples of that. Well, boom, there you go, because that's a reminder of just that. And again, this is aging really well because, like it says, Stellar Lumens or any other digital asset or currency, I should say, or bank-backed tokens. So we get more into the bank-backed tokens when it comes to the whole thing of Tenemos. You will see how this all comes together. So let's move on to the next part. And basically speaking, let's take it over to here. This is another citation again from Smoke Dog. Very, very good as well. FedNow mentioned an article titled "Blockchain Provides the Real-Time Payments Customers Demand." No coincidences, but blockchain is the only technology that allows 24/7 real-time settlement and allows payment apps like, for example, FedNow to scale to, quote, fit any volume of transactions. And that's also worth pointing out because when you jump into the screenshot he has, it gets into some of these key things. And more importantly, let's blow this up as well. This is good stuff. You will see, plain as day, that, you know, you have these examples of blockchain and real-time payments and meeting customers' demands. And of course, that dates back to October 27th, 2022. But again, what do you see part of the mix? Amazon Web Services, digital products, financial services, innovation platform. But as I blow this up a little bit more, the other thing that's really, really cool to see is the increased demand for a digital world where customers' expectations are on the rise, but they can already order food, transportation instantaneously and have entire libraries of music, books, and of course videos at their fingertips. As a result, they are demanding similar instant gratification, of course, from their banks. Yet in most cases, payments are still not made and settled in real time. Whether it's enterprises, whether it's small businesses and individuals, it is essential for your customers to not only know exactly how much money is in their account, but at a given time be able to do what? Deploy the darn thing. You know, that's the bottom line. As I get into the other part of this outline, I want to show you just a little bit more from Smoke. This is also good. It's this, and we're going to blow this up on the other screen as well. It's more into the weeds about why this is important. So, SoftServe Inc. in the screenshot from, I don't know if it's Smoke's cell phone or whatnot. That's beyond the point. But how do we get to the path of achieving, of course, real-time payments? Well, it's understanding that the ability to quickly settle transactions are no longer just an idea, and that your institution should wait to basically implement it, but near real-time payments are quickly becoming a reality thanks to cloud solutions, which, by the way, can scale to fit any volume of transactions. Using blockchain to process payments allows settlement to be done 24/7, 365 throughout the year. A little bit reference in regards to the clearinghouse. As we know, the clearinghouse developed its real-time payment network to facilitate faster payments in 2017, and 60% of U.S. banks have since connected to it. So, what's the example in highlight? Well, similar to the United States, the Federal Reserve is slated to unveil, of course, FedNow service, and it already did that, right? Did that basically, I think it was March 2023. But the point is understanding that will allow real-time settlement, near real-time settlement. So the steps have already been put into place, and we've already been there and done that. And as we take it to this next part, this is also a good citation because you have to understand, where did this all start? Well, it's a reminder. Okay, this actually dates back prior to 2021. Shout out to this guy named Sam. He mentions, IBM World Wire, and we're back. After dealing with a lot of red tape, you got to keep in mind, IBM utilizes Stellar org, which uses, again, the lumens as a bridge currency. Lumens as in what, guys? XLM, a unit of value, of course, for transfer of value and transaction cost calculations. And then, of course, he has a citation. We're going to take to that as well. But here's what's interesting. When you go to some of these things, I understand why people have stated, they're like, yep, there is no IBM partnership. It's gone. It's been kaput. That could be furthermore from the truth. That is still a strong partnership. But as we know, when it comes to some of these things, due to NDAs and whatnot, there might be some key details that were on the page that is no longer available to the public. So I decided to do this because it's something I do. Went back on the Wayback Time Machine and decided to get into the weeds of why this is important. Why is this not available anymore? And more importantly, what did it say from IBM? Well, let's jump back to the screen and you'll see it on the Wayback Time Machine. I'll go ahead and full screen this once again, because what you're going to see here is from this snapshot, March 12, 2023, it mentions some of these key things, but more importantly is to understand how it says specifically the navigation of broader digital asset and cryptocurrency markets. Lots to talk about cryptos, but more importantly, understanding some of the key things that might have very well been deleted here, because it says picture the digital assets momentum framed through a European lens. And of course, when we get to the Temenos outline, you will see how that comes into fruition. So it says the birth and rise of Bitcoin cryptocurrency paved the way for several waves of innovation that are gradually shifting paradigms in the financial ecosystems. The digital asset momentum empowered by tokenization underpinning the blockchain technologies is now undeniable. Among the recent milestones that have made headlines, the ever-growing rise of Bitcoin value. Incredible. And it says, of course, continue reading. Well, I can't take you to the next page about where you can continue to read. But when you see other statements here about those cryptocurrency markets, oh no, not those bad things, right? You will see here it matches up in regards to some of the key terms about evolution of that and how there's continued, interest. But more importantly, when you see things about wider regulatory bills that have reached the Senate floor in Washington, D.C., and I'm thinking to myself, well, if we continue reading on that, why would that be important? Why would that all of a sudden be taken off from the IBM site? Well, again, it's understanding that, sometimes you have to dig deeper into things. And of course, this is what pops up. IBM Supply Chain and Blockchain Blog. Again, now this is March 28th of 2023. But again, why was this taken down? Well, this particular guy, interesting name, Brian Rugg, has this thing that he shared a while back, but it goes on to mention that, again, back to the reference to the Senate floor meeting, but more importantly is understanding this statement, and of course to talk about smart contracts. Well, when we talked about IBM and we talked about Stellar, the next thing that kind of came up as far as early, this year and a little bit last year was the talk about Sorbonne. So it kind of makes me wonder, all right, maybe due to certain parts of the NDAs, they don't want people to know about IBM's ties to maybe Sorbonne through smart contracts. And that could be a possibility. I'm not saying it is, but this kind of leads me to the sense that that might be a thing, especially when you see other statements like this about bridging the gap with custodial solutions. So think about that for a brief moment about bridging the gap to custodial solutions, because it's now going to bring us to the next particular part of the outline, and that is this. Temenos. This is the thing I covered with Rue Black last year about Stellar's connection to FedNow through Temenos. But if you weren't aware, let's remind you. It's crucial for your understanding, because when you get more into the weeds of this, Temenos was selected to participate in the Federal Reserve's pilot program. And more importantly, understanding that was for the new instant payment service, of course, which is FedNow. And what does it say? Plain as day, Temenos will bring next generation payments technology and global expertise to the FedNow SM pilot program. So how did this age, and if anything, is it aging well? Well, I think it is, because as I get more into it, another reminder that they completed their certification for Federal Reserve's new instant payment service. And so it's like, okay, this is aging really well. Well, also keep in mind, back to CoinDesk reference, that Temenos, as we know, is a provider of banking software. As you guys know, that's called BaaS. They were teamed up with crypto technology firm Taurus to give clients access to digital assets. But here's what's really, really important. And I'll come back into the frame about this. So as we get more into the outline, we in retail especially, and I imagine even the rich people do this too, a lot of focus of not your keys, not your crypto. But we also know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to hit their next particular bull market. Now for me, this will be my second, but you can imagine how many wealthy, rich people are out there where this is their third or fourth bull cycle. So with that said, a lot of them are still pro Bitcoin and are also recognizing that they need a place, just kind of like the concept of Bitcoin's freedom. They need the freedom of being able to park their assets. Okay, hear me out. I said assets, not what you're thinking. On a particular platform or a particular banking organization in Switzerland. Hence the term of Swiss bank accounts. And if you understand how crucial that is for your, the wealthy moving forward, it's always been there. Long before the talk about blockchain DLT, we understand the significance of what? Swiss bank accounts. So Temenos, do they have a connection to Swiss banks? They absolutely do. Check this out for a brief moment. Look at what it says here. And it says that the two Switzerland-based firms will aim to do what? Bridge the gap between traditional investments and digital assets. That statement itself matches up with what was deleted from the public in regards to IBM. How so? Temenos product director Alexander Duret said in a press release, at least back then, about how this would all come together by bridging the gap. But if you weren't aware of it, Taurus, at least back then, received a securities license from the Swiss Financial Market Supervisor Authority. So a lot of times when we talk about, why didn't the SEC ever go after Stellar, understand Stellar ready, like how can you realistically go after them when you see statements like that? A little bit more about tokenization, just in case you weren't aware. Taurus offers tokenization, staking, decentralized finance, and digital currencies, of course, on its platform. But now Temenos has institutional clients that will have access, of course, to that platform. The integration already happened, been there, done that. But again, connectivity to more than 10 blockchain protocols. All right, is Stellar part of that mix? Again, yes, they are. And check this out, because some of you guys wanted some recent reports. Well, we see that being used, but is there any examples of, for example, the actual lumens, like they mentioned, being used as a bridge to Temenos? And literally, plain as day, right here on the screenshot, what do you see? You see Stellar bridging that straight to Temenos. 5,525,000 XLM to be exact, as of June. Okay, and there's other examples that date further back and so on, but I just want to give you this particular one because that stood out, and that's also a lot of XLM. The other thing I want to jump into is back to Temenos, and we see this citation. This is really cool. This pounds things home. It says, basically speaking, that what does your Swift ISO strategy look like? And when you get more into this, it's like they did a poll, right? And what was most important to some of these institutions was not necessarily the message translation, but it was to upgrade their existing systems. Think about that for a second, because when we talk about infrastructure, that's where it's at. 44% of that vote said existing system upgrade was important, and message translation was on the bottom of their list. But think about it, guys. They also have a mandate in regards to ISO 222 by November 2025. So it doesn't matter if that's by popular demand or not. Understanding the existing system upgrade was of the most importance. All right, a little bit more in regards to IBM and, of course, like Temenos. People asked about that connection. Look at this. IBM and Temenos T24 digital banking platform. Stephen Dickens, global sales leader. And you see plain as day, IBM bottom left. And of course, you see Temenos. It says on the sign on the right with the lighting, it's kind of hard to see. It says the most, I can't read that part right on the right, but yeah, something about the most professional, maybe? I don't know. Banks run Temenos, trusted by over 3,000 banks worldwide. So that is also worth pointing out because people have asked IBM, Temenos, again, the Stellar connection. And as you get more into it, look at this. Shout out to Stellar Stacker. We follow each other. I'll have to give them a tag on this one too. Hidden Swiss Temenos, TEMN. Temenos, a provider of banking software, teamed up with crypto technology firm Taurus to give clients access to digital assets, but more importantly, understanding that you see the enterprise software is for banks and financial services. And it's, of course, headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. Temenos has initially created, or was created in 1993, and has been listed on the Swiss Stock Exchange since 2001. Very cool to see that as well, because, again, when you get back more into it, back to the citation from Temenos, a different one, Temenos was named the #1 best-selling banking software in 8 categories by IBS Intelligence. And if you don't know about them, you have to keep in mind that being connected to these providers is a big deal, but they were named the #1 in core banking for the 19th consecutive year. That's super impressive. Why aren't enough people talking about this? I don't know. All right. The other thing I want to jump into is this, guys. I'm going to show you this quick little video, and if anything, it's going to help you understand the bigger picture, because literally listen to how they mention getting away from the old outdated system. You don't believe me? It literally says it in the video. I'm going to go ahead and play this. We'll be back here in just a moment, and we'll wrap this up on how big of a connection there is to Stellar. Does it literally say it, Max? Absolutely, it says it. Let's jump back. Let's play this video. Here we go.
95% of bankers say legacy systems prevent them from optimizing customer-centric strategies. Today, most banks rely on core technology from a pre-digital banking era, which keeps them from being competitive. In order to stay ahead, agility is required to provide customers with innovative financial services. At the same time, banks need to seize new business opportunities and optimize cost management. Our clients consume, compose, and extend services to drive modernization and deliver immediate business value to their customers. They use Temenos' trusted and proven SaaS services to adhere to the strict resilience, security, data, and risk requirements. Learn how Temenos' clients progressively modernize their technology, serve their existing customer base through SaaS and cloud, and leverage our open and scalable platform to access new banking models such as embedded finance and banking as a service. How will you address your legacy constraints? Discover more at temenos.com/modernization.
So plain as day, you see from Temenos is modernizing the banking, system, if you will. That's where it's at. Everyone's banking platform, unlike some of these statements. Now, just to give you a little bit more background in regards to the significance of all this, some people have asked some of the main benefits, like what are the main benefits of Swiss bank accounts? Like you heard some of these statements before, but you really don't understand it. Well, I'm gonna take you over to this real quick. This is just a basic research, basically, and here it is on the screen. Actually, let me share that again. And it's like this: the main benefits of a Swiss bank account. What do they basically include? Well, I want you guys to see this a little bit better. I'm gonna take off the actual logo coin. But Swiss bank accounts include low levels of financial risk and high levels of privacy. Swiss law prevents the bank from disclosing any information regarding an account, even in its existence, without the depositor's permission, except in cases where severe criminal activity is suspected. Say what you want. I mean, a lot of people that are really pro Bitcoin, because they're like, Bitcoin's freedom, it's the ultimate amount of privacy, et cetera, et cetera. You got to keep in mind that a lot of people either already have from previous bull markets, or even people that are not into crypto, they park their money into Swiss bank accounts, right? So that we're not oblivious to that. But how could we have Stellar's connection with this with Temenos? Well, as we get further into that here in a bit, you will see some other examples here that I thought I would mention to you, and that is, some people ask, well, what makes a Swiss bank account so special? Swiss banks have high levels of capitalization, and they rank exceptionally high among the reliable banks in the world. The money kept in a Swiss bank is perfectly secure because even if the bank fails, the deposits will be insured. Okay, awesome, right? And, this is where people have that trust when it comes to the Swiss banks. So the other thing I want to get into is this right here, and that is Swiss banks, according to Indeed, okay, have high levels of capitalization. They rank exceptionally high among the most reliable banks in the world, but the money kept in a Swiss bank is perfectly secure because even if the bank fails, again, all the deposits will be insured. All right, so when we talk about the tokenization of deposits, notice how many times, not just myself, there's a lot of other people talking about this. Larry Fink, BlackRock, talks about the tokenization of deposits. So if that's going to be all represented on chain, a lot of people have talked about, well, then, what happens if something should happen that, the end of the world or whatever? And who's going to insure that? Because with the traditional banking, that we have, like here in the United States, FDIC, you're insured up to what, 250,000? Right? And sometimes people do like multiple bank accounts. That's a thing. But what happens when that even collapses, right? It's like, oh crap, is the Swiss still that solution? All right, let's bring it to the moment that you've been waiting for. You've been patiently listening to this outline. This gets really, really good, because when you go to here, back to that reference from the beginning of the outline, will Stellar technology be used in FedNow? Well, it says, number one, there is a Temenos as a service provider on the FedNow homepage. I pointed this out last year. Shout out to anybody that watched that live show with me and Root Black. It was announced on the FedNow homepage that it is operating on what? The ISO 222 standard, and you see plain as day Temenos being listed. But here's your aha moment. Here's the moment, of course, that you've been waiting for. Here's the boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew moment, because when you jump into this specifically, you will see plain as day this right here, and that is, look at this. Complete Circle API integration, and to integrate into Temenos, which opens 1,600 banks and credit unions to what? The Stellar blockchain. What a great highlight. What a great find. And again, pounds home everything from that live show from last year. And that's where it's at for me. And that's where it's always going to be at for me. This is why I'm not a maxi on one particular coin. I understand it's the coins and tokens tied to ISO 222. But more importantly, think about it, everybody. Don't overthink it. When you see the real true bull run kick in, and a lot of these people are still gung-ho, Bitcoin and BTC and so on, they're going to want that special platform. Because guess what? The future, maybe they even got a memo from their bank, who knows, that says, look, your assets are now represented on chain. To see this about Stellar speaks absolute volumes moving forward if you've studied this stuff. Do you hold Stellar? As the saying goes, do you know what you hold? Do you know why you hold it? Does my research and others basically trump FUD 110%? I'll leave it with that. With that also said, if you listen to this outline, do me a favor and simply type in TEM, short for Temenos, in the comments, and I'll know that you listened to the outline. Thanks for tuning in. Glad to provide you this information. We'll see you on the next one.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. Say goodbye to complicated setups and hello to Decent Wallet, the hassle-free solution to your digital currency needs. With just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.